morning.
How are you today?
It's been a whirlwind of a week.
I'm glad
Yes.
you're here. This is the right
Thank you.
place to be.
That was my thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Whirlwind of a week. That could mean so many things.
Yes. I've got the anxiety is pretty high, and all of my kind of trigger behaviors are coming out, which is not ideal. But I'm just, I tested positive for COVID yesterday,
Okay.
and we're trying to get me in for an antibody treatment, but because of the surge, they're very hard to come by. And medical workers, as you can imagine, are just so beyond, you can't blame them for not being very friendly, but it makes it hard for those of us, I'm trying to protect myself from this for 2 years and finally got me.
Right. Protect yourself because of your son, huh? Mostly.
Yeah. Well, me, I have a
You
chronic
too.
lung
That's right.
disease.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
So she's positive. She's fine.
Okay. Well, that's an upside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But home from school this week. So there's also the stress of having a very active child who's sitting right next to me right now.
Yeah, I can hear her there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're doing all kinds of things for your body to strengthen as much as possible.
Sleep. Yeah, I'm trying to sleep. I am also supposed to be posting for a promotion today at work, but just need to get my head on straight so I can write the cover letter I need to write to submit.
I bet you'll get it. It's not only about the cover letter. I'm pretty sure they know that you're amazing.
That's the hope. Yeah, that's the hope that
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have a good cover letter, but you're moving up within, so it's not.
Right. It's a little different. Yeah.
It's a little different. Yeah. It just occurs to me. Do you use essential oils at all?
No, because apparently breathing them in can be not great for my lungs, which shocked me.
That's absolutely shocking. I don't know, but if they're therapeutic grade essential oils, I highly doubt it. I can't. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But
it was my pulmonologist who said it, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't know.
Yeah.
Because they don't use essential oils.
Oh.
Probably.
I was going to say she probably knows because she's my pulmonologist.
She's erring on the side of caution.
Yeah.
I would ask, do you know, have you ever used these? But she's just erring on the side of extreme caution, which makes sense. It's Phyllis.
And my sister, this is my sister, Pat.
And Pat, yes. Hi.
Nevada.
So wonderful to have you.
She is a rare mother also, but her daughter's illness was just discovered a few years ago. And how old is Donna now? With her foot?
She is 60.
Wow.
She's 60. Yeah. And she's been one of my support for all my life. Okay.
So Phyllis and Pat, I don't think you have you ever met Meg?
No.
Do y'all want to just introduce yourselves just very briefly and say about yourselves and your rare child or children? Anyone can start.
I'll go then. I'm Meg. I have an 11-year-old daughter who has a neurodegenerative disease. And I have my own chronic lung disease as well.
Welcome. It's so nice to have you with us.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I'm Phyllis, and I have five children. 3 of my boys had Hunter syndrome, and they were sick for about 20 years. they passed away at 12, 18, and 19.
Wow.
And if you know anything about the disease, they were normal at birth and they didn't get sick until they were 3 to 6 years old. Anyway, my daughter Crystal is one of the founders of the Angel Aid program. She and her girlfriends from college started it back in 2000, I think it was. And now she does it full time. And some of the other gals still help. And my sister, I already told about you, but you want to tell?
Well, I have 6 children, and none of them had any diseases until my second daughter was diagnosed with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. That's a disease that affects the bones in her feet. They grow and get mushy and grow and whatnot. And she's now being tested for rheumatoid arthritis. But other than that, up until it's been 15 years ago, is I guess when her symptoms started, but she was never diagnosed within the last 5 years. They didn't know what it was, or they
Wow.
just weren't aware of it, I guess.
Thank
Wow.
you. I'm so glad you're all here, and maybe some of our other wonderful Rare Mothers will join us. So today we are looking at the concept of the we, of being a couple and supporting each other and having each other's backs, and how that can really support you in your family, in yourself, in your family, and in the world. And there are different words for that. Sometimes there's a therapist called Stan Tatkin who talks about something called the couple bubble. So it's like you're in this bubble of the two of you. You know, like when you move around through the world, you're not moving around just as two individuals. You're always also two individuals, and you're held by this container of being in a couple, this couple bubble, which is so beautiful. So, you know, when you go somewhere, you've got your awareness on your husband. You can't hear me? Is that better? Oh, I haven't been using this thing, but somehow it seems, if it's not better, I'll switch it up. Can you still hear me? Maybe I'll do that. Let's try this. Okay. Is that better? No. I wonder if it's I'm going to turn Bluetooth off if it's somehow catching that. Now you can't hear me at all?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening on your end then, Phyllis. And I do want you to hear me. I'm not sure. Can you hear me now? I think you're frozen. So yours might be going in and out. Yeah, it froze for a minute on your end.
We could hear you better with the earphones.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Usually we use this, and that's pretty good. But I'll put these back in because I want you to hear me.
Appointment to go. By the way, I have an appointment to go see my husband who's in the hospital, and so we may have to leave early.
Okay.
But
If
we
he-
want it.
I'm sorry.
I missed the
he's-
meditation.
All right. Well, then let's do the meditation. I will read to you a little bit from my book, which I know several of you have read or looked at, Being Together, Practical Wisdom for Loving Yourself and Your Partner. And I just wanted to bring in this piece about really responding to your husband and being responded to. And there's something, well, I'll read about it. Bids for attention. You can strengthen your we by doing what John Gottman calls responding to your partner's bids for attention. Your partner's bids for attention are attempts at creating a connection. And the more responsive you are, the more connected you will feel. Your connection can be nourished in many ways, and you have to discover how to do so together. Find out, what do they love? What reaches them? What makes them smile? What helps them to relax and feel safe and secure? Curiosity is your friend. A bid for attention may appear differently at different times. For instance, a question from your partner can be a bid for attention. Your partner is seeking your opinion. So when they ask you a question, be present and respond. Ignoring them by making a grunting sound without looking up from your book, cell phone, or the television is dismissive of your partner's bid. Ignoring a bid for attention can result in your partner feeling rejected, unappreciated, or like they don't matter to you. So really responding to each other and listening to each other is so important. So let's meditate here. We'll do an 8-minute meditation. And then we'll do a little bit of journaling afterward. So let's begin. So take a moment, make yourself comfortable. That might mean arranging yourself differently in your chair or lying down. The most important thing is to make yourself really comfortable, allowing for ease in the body. Also invites the mind to settle down, letting your mind settle as your body settles. And I want to invite you to take some nice full breaths, breathing in a way that feels good to you. Letting yourself be nourished by your breath. Very slowly, since you, as a rare mother, have carved out this special time for yourself, this time to rest, to turn your attention toward yourself. Because the more you can nourish yourself, the more you can be available in your life to your family. And it's so important to take time to tend to yourself, tending to yourself with your attention. And just for these moments, set everything else aside. What if everything and everyone can wait, including your thoughts that might be beckoning you, the to-do list, just letting that be set aside. Because right now you are tending to yourself. Because you are in a couple, you are in a union, in a we. Inside of the we, there's a you and a me. So you are an integral part of that couple. Every breath is a breath of kindness and care for yourself. Because as a rare mother, you are offering a lot of kindness and care into your life, to your family, to your husband. Because when you are nourished with your own attention, with enough sleep, with good food, then you have the capacity to give without giving everything away. And I know this can be really challenging in the role that you're in. So much caregiving. And when you give this care to yourself, then you're coming from a nourished and balanced place where you can maintain your personal integrity. And even if your mind is roaming here and there, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Just come back to your breath. This gentle, nourishing breath. With every breath, you're showering yourself with kindness and care. And the more you practice this with yourself, turning off the voice of the inner critic, the voices of doubt, the more you can practice kindness, this gentle kindness in the world. And it begins with you. Now smiling into your own heart. Rest here for another little bit. This time is so sacred. I honor you for taking this time for yourself. And as you're ready, you can breathe, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. You can let yourself stretch a little bit if that feels good. So I'm curious if you just take, let's just take a few minutes. Maybe like 3 minutes and just write about how do I tend to my relationship? How do you tend to your relationship? And if you want, how does your husband tend to your relationship? Looking at both sides of that. So let's just take a few minutes and then we'll come back. And a little bit more time to finish whatever you're writing. So I'm wondering what what touched you, what came up in the meditation or in the moments we took for reflection. And how do you tend to your couple bubble, to your we?
I'd like to go first because we're probably going to have to leave.
Sure.
And I almost skipped the meditation today because of this important appointment at the hospital. But then I told my sister, I need this meditation.
Oh, good, Phyllis. Awesome.
So I just want to thank you, Padma. What I wrote about was that I was anticipating what the nurses and the doctors might think of me, and uncertain and undecided about things made me not want to go, but I have to go. And I'm sure Meg and everybody can identify with this. You know, when your child is ill, you have to go to the hospital, the doctor and everything. And now, 50 years later, or 30 years later since they last passed, but now I'm going through the same thing with my husband that I went through with my children. And it's a real challenge. The thing I liked about the meditation was that when I meditate, when you help me to meditate, you help me to focus on myself, which I don't tend to do because I'm always thinking about my children or other people. And then you lead us into this place that's just quiet and peaceful. And that takes me to my faith and my prayer. And I can ask for help, for comfort and guidance, and get direction. So I'm so grateful for Angel Aid and for you doing these meditations and getting us girls together. I'm really glad that Meg is here, and I look forward to getting to know her. And I'm glad my sister was here too.
You, Phyllis. So glad you could show up. And thank you. I mean, this is really good example. Also, I just want to say, even for anyone who's watching this replay, or for any of us who are here right now, you can always come late. You can always leave early. We totally understand. And we'd rather have you here for some portion of the time than not at all, because it's good for you and it's good for us. So come at any point. You're welcome. Thank you. Pat, did you want to say something?
I'm just glad that I was able to be with you this morning.
Oh,
Thank you.
Sweet. We're glad you're here. Appreciate your presence. Yeah, and I appreciate also that there are rare mothers here who are at all different ends of the journey, and you know, with late onset and early onset of a particular rare disease. And so it's a very rich opportunity to share. So thank you. What about you, Meg?
I got a call from the hospital as you were doing the reading, so I missed the early part. But I think the good news is they did source me a antiviral treatment, so I'm going to go off to
Super.
get that next.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great. I'm so glad.
Yes.
That's a relief. So wait, so just before you even go, just take a moment and register that. Register the relief of that. That the universe is like, okay, we have one for you. You need it. We have one for you. And so just let that in so that it can meet the part that is really holding so much anxiety, right?
Yes.
And then here comes, oh, a gift from the universe. Yes, you get this treatment.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So I found myself my head is just in a lot of different places, and I was reflecting on just that, you know, my poor husband, we're both full-time working and demanding jobs, and we have our daughter, and with my illness. Like it's just so much. And I realized that I came home from trying to get this treatment and went right into this, and I didn't give him anything. He stood here trying to comfort and trying to get up to speed and hear what's going on, and I didn't give it to him. And I think that I'm just realizing it's just so hard. It's just hard to balance it all. But in the same ways I want him to support me, I need to give back to him too. Because I'm sure it's scary for him watching us go through this.
Absolutely. Really good awareness. And it's true, it is. Yeah, and it's so good that you bring that up, because it is those transition moments too are really important. And in those transitional moments, just to even just take one breath, pause, and then say, hi, I'm here. Let's just be here together. And even though life is going fast, and because honestly, it's more important that you stop and connect with him and have a moment, and then be a few minutes late for this, or actually a few minutes late for almost anything, meetings. There's a phrase, people before things. It's like, wow, let's prioritize the people, starting with ourselves and our husbands, partners, children. And it is that slowing down and saying, oh, I'm really here with you. And sometimes you can even say, can we just take a breath together? Because I've been rushing and running around and all over the place. And just take a breath and feel yourself, okay, now I'm here. I start all of when I do individual work with people or couples work with people, sessions, I start with quiet, because you get so much more out of it. Then you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm really here. And I'm taking care of myself, and I'm here with you. And then we can dive really in. Otherwise, we're just going to be in the kind of the ripples on the surface for quite some time. So yeah, slowing it way down and prioritizing those moments. Oh yeah. And thank you for asking. And there's a piece that I've been working on myself, deepening and teaching, which is this receiving when someone says something. Oh, I'm having this experience. Oh, I'm really afraid. I'm really anxious. And then just being able to say, thank you for telling me that you're feeling anxious, or whatever the reflection might be. But taking a moment to really receive someone else's experience. That's a way of tending to this couple bubble. Oh, I really get that you're going through it, without saying, because this is something that we can get into too. Oh, I really get that you're going through that. Yeah, I'm going through that too. Like so quickly. I'm experiencing that too. Well, that's hard for me too. And that in a way cancels out it's called active listening, right? Oh, this is what you're experiencing. Stopping. This is what you're experiencing. I hear what you're experiencing. Let me let that land before I tell you what I'm experiencing. Or I even tell you, and it's nuanced, right? It's new. Phyllis, do you need to go? You look like you're a little slow.
I'm so anxious. I'm so sorry, but
That's okay.
I will watch the rest of this.
Okay.
And I just wanted to give Meg a hug.
Thank you.
A hug.
Oh.
I'm glad that you got good news, and I'm so glad you're here. And I hope to see you Thursday at 10 o'clock and next week at 10 o'clock. Okay?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phyllis. Good to see you, Phyllis and Pat. Good luck with Mr. B. Yeah, so sometimes this feeling, it can be tricky, right? Because you're kind of trying to make the bridge with, well, I'm having that experience too. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes, and I think it can be also a gender piece too, that women very often just want to be heard. And men tend to want to offer a solution really quickly, or say, oh yeah, I know about that too. And it's not, and this is not everyone, this is not an absolute, this is just like a kind of loosely, these things loosely apply. So,
Yes,
yeah. So can you relate to that? Oop,
very much.
Buddy can relate to it.
I don't know where mine went. Yeah, I think it's um, what's hard is just it never quiets here. Like there is no, downtime in our house. And so we struggle to make the space for that. Um, just because our kiddo is so demanding. Yeah, but we need to.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be good to even schedule that in for just like once a week or once a day, just for a few minutes, and then once a week for some kind of longer amount of time. So there's just like maybe when your daughter's sleeping, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so easy to have all the reasons not to.
So what are the
And I think
reasons
that's
not?
where we get stuck.
What are those reasons?
Just
What are those things that get in the way?
I go to bed pretty quickly after her. And I'm so tired by the end of the day. So that is the best time.
It's,
Um, and when she's here, it's just so hard. Like I can't describe how much energy and attention she needs. So it's been I think one thing that we're trying, it just hasn't worked yet, is we're going to try and schedule a day off each month where she's at school and we can just
Great
have the
idea.
day together. Because we can't find caretakers right now. We haven't had help in a really long time. And so and we don't have family here. So it's just been, things have been very tense. Understandably so. We've gotten a lot better, I think, in this last year of seeing it as the things that we have to tackle together as opposed to opposing each other, which is a huge step. But
Right.
yeah, we could do a lot more.
Yeah. So how does that work? Like the getting into the kind of oppositionality or polarizing positionality.
Yeah, our reactions to difficulty, I go right into action and like, okay, what are we going to do and control?
Mhm.
My husband is more of the avoidance. If it's not happening now, it's not happening, so I don't have to worry about it. And those two things just clash a lot. Where when he, tries to calm me down or tries to redirect, I feel like he doesn't understand the severity of the situation. And when I'm over controlling, he just feels like I'm way over the top and not adding to the situation, which is true. I think we've been doing a lot of EFT therapy the last couple of years, and I think that we now understand that pattern, and
Mhm.
at least they're recognizing it when it happens. So I guess that's been the big step, is that like we know what's going to happen. As an example, this afternoon, I got back from trying to get this treatment, and I'm not going to lie, like there were tears, there was yelling, like it has been a terrible day. Not with him, with the trying to get the stuff.
Yeah.
And I came home and he had opened up, we have 2 ceiling fans that we haven't installed that we have, and he was going to do that. My immediate reaction is like, this is a terrible idea. Like I am stressed to the max. You're not an electrician and we have Dylan home. Like I see a million things that are about to go wrong. And I think in the past I would have just barked at him, this is dumb, don't do that. And this time I was able to articulate here's the reasons. I'm feeling stressed. I know that this is going to add to that. So I'm trying to prevent us from having an argument in advance. And he was able to share that he's having some challenges at work. And so he said, I'm feeling frustrated. This was my attempt at trying to do something that I can do when I don't feel like I can do other things. So it's, I think,
Mhm.
positive shift.
Really positive shift.
Yes.
Sounds like you listened to each other.
I tried.
You
Yes.
did. You did.
Yes.
You did it. So then,
Yes.
yeah. So then just those moments of slowing down and interrupting the pattern of, oh, that's a stupid idea. just like shut it down, or
Yeah.
either shut someone else down or shut yourself down. Those are kind of the two things that we can go to mostly. I
Yeah.
mean, in relating. And it's that listening, it's that awareness of, oh, I'm going into my pattern. I'm going into trying to control everything, and stopping. And also, if you see, or if he saw, or if you see that the other person's really upset and tears, like you got a tear-stained face, your eyes are swollen, this is not a time to add anything to the mix.
Right.
And there's something also I'll bring in, I'm just making a note. So really what I'm pointing to is capacity. What is my capacity right now? And I'll even say to my partner, he's like, well, I just wanted to talk about blah, 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 blah. And sometimes I just say, honey, I'm so tired, or I've had a really intense day with my teenager or whatever it is. And I don't have the capacity right now. It's not about them. It's about I'm being honest that I don't have the capacity to have that conversation or to do that activity. Like you didn't have the capacity today to have construction in the house. It's like, I mean, and that's, you got to have a lot of bandwidth to have construction in the house on a good, it's got to be a good day, because that's going to cause chaos and more kind of distortion in the space. So assessing each other's capacity and being okay with it. When the other person says, you know what, I really don't have the capacity for this. It's not, I don't have the capacity for you. It's that I realize that my cup is like really low because I haven't slept well, or maybe I haven't eaten enough today, or whatever. Maybe I just had a huge plate of pasta and I just really need a nap, and I can't, I can't have some kind of important conversation. So that concept of, and even having the question, so honey, I'd love to do X, or I'd love to talk about X. What is your capacity right now? Taking a moment to have of self-reflection to just even see. So really the whole process involves a lot of slowing down, a lot of slowing down. Because otherwise we're just like bump into each other and like, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z, or can you help me with this? And actually, is there space? Is there space? So checking in on capacity. Is that something you guys work with or have worked with?
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me of what I do at work. Do you have capacity to take this on? And it's very simple to say yes or no.
Right.
What I was thinking as you were describing that is I think we're getting better at that. It's a new learned tool. The challenge Matt is giving me lately is just but when are you going to have capacity? And he's not wrong in that we kind of have been operating at kind of a very low, level of capacity for so long. And, it's hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, when are things going to be a little bit more manageable? And so it's a little bit about like creating the capacity even when we don't have it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And creating the capacity might also be helpful to just create a space for, I don't know if sometimes it's like, do you have the capacity to have a deep conversation, or do you have a capacity to problem solve around X, Y, Z? Those are two actually separate conversations, separate meetings. We can have a logistical meeting. I don't know if you have a time once a week where let's check in, what's working. We have these systems, these structures in place for ourselves and with Dylan, and are they actually working, or do things need to be tweaked? When can I put the ceiling fan in? When do you think a good time to put the ceiling fan in is going to be? So you can have a logistical meeting, just like you have meetings at work, right? You have either a Monday morning meeting or whatever, whenever the meeting is. And then also having a time that's really, I love your idea about scheduling one day a month off. One day a month off is a good start. And I'd love to see some little window of time carved out each week. Maybe it's date night. sometimes it's really just sitting together. And it's hard if you can't get a caregiver, because then you just have to be there. So your attention is sort of always distracted
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah. For
Mhm.
the last couple of years, at least, it's amazing how fortunate we were before all of this, because we had a lot of help, and I don't think we understood how fortunate we were for that,
Mm,
until it all came
crashing
to a
down.
halt. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not able to get caregivers now.
It is. The employment market is just insane.
Mhm.
Yeah. But we're trying, we're still doing all the things you do to find them. But yeah, it's pretty bleak out there right now. But that'll turn around too at some point. It has to.
It has to.
Mhm.
It has to. It will, because it has to, because it doesn't really seem sustainable over the long haul,
Right.
even though humans are very adaptable,
Amazingly so.
amazingly so. And the people growing up in this are just getting shaped in a different way. So,
Yeah.
so what else are you doing? What else are you actually already doing to tend to your relationship, to the we? I bet there are things that you're doing, and just to sort of bring them to the forefront of your awareness.
I honestly think Matt's doing more than me. He'll at least once a day come, stop by wherever I'm sitting or whatever I'm doing, just stop and like rub my shoulder for a minute to say hi. He's very much a physical touch and words of affirmation person.
Mhm.
I'm very much not. And so I can tell, it's his language.
Mhm. And what's yours?
Acts of service and gifts.
And he knows that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so tricky. We give what we want
Yes.
rather than, even if we know, probably like, whatever, a latte or a little, some flowers or something would make warm your heart more.
Yes. And
Yeah,
it's
so
silly. It's just these little things, but he doesn't adapt super well. Like Matt kind of, he's ingrained in kind of who he is. And I think for a long time I wanted him to change and talk my own love language. And I'm trying to, so I guess going back to your question, I'm trying to recognize when he's um,
and he
trying
is
to display that.
offering. Yeah.
Mhm. Even if it's not the way I necessarily receive it.
Mhm.
I know he's trying, and that
Yes.
means a lot.
Yes, that's beautiful. And really
Yeah.
receiving that, receive what he is doing. That is one of the tests, it seems. Let people love us the way that they are able to love us,
That's true.
rather than wanting them to love us in a different way. Because the more you actually receive the love that is being given, the more room there is for occasionally, just reminding or mentioning. There's two ways to go about it, really. Reminding or mentioning, I just, so and so brought me, a little gift. So and so from work gave me this little gift, and it was so nice. I realized that really reaches me, something sort of like offhanded like that. The other thing is to lead by offering him, loving him in his love language, right? Because we as women, for better or for worse, are usually leading in the
Mm.
relationship.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Just really, yeah. I mean, there is something that I could mention and it's tricky to use it because you have to really build up the appreciation, the field of appreciation, but something called a love sandwich, where you could say, oh, I really love when you're, I love the feeling of how you're rubbing my shoulders, and what I might also, what I would also love is a cup of tea, you know, like it's kind of like, and then they bring you the cup of tea and you say, oh, I just love that you made me this cup of tea just the way I like it. You know, so it's
Yeah.
these little things
Yes.
and responding to each other. Remembering to respond to each other. I feel like John Gottman's bids for attention. Its value can't be underestimated. It's just
Makes
so,
sense.
so helpful.
Hmm.
And it is
Makes
that,
sense.
it is that like looking up from your work rather than just being like, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I feel, yeah, you know, you feel like your head's in a million places. I could barely keep my head on straight with all the things I should be doing. Yeah. And he gets deprioritized in that.
Yeah. So that
We
might
both
be,
do.
yeah. So that might be a good practice. How do I slow down enough to just like at least once a day prioritize, after I've really taken care of myself, prioritize responding to my partner?
I like
What
that.
would that be? Like, how do I respond? Okay, I bet I'm going to slow down. Like before you go to get this treatment that the universe just handed you on a silver platter, you could just go and stop by and see him and maybe give him a squeeze and say, you know, just express your appreciation for him.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. I definitely will.
it's so good.
Mm.
Yeah, I can really feel how you're stretched.
Yeah.
Getting COVID is not helpful, and you're getting the treatment, so that's gonna help for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it is. It's just, there's just a lot of stress right now.
Yeah. So even more in those moments, like really tending to yourself. Were you able at all this past week to do a little bit of meditation, just sitting for a few minutes or 1 minute? Not really.
Not this week. I even lost like, I didn't even work out this week the way I wanted to. I got through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then
No
it just
Peloton?
fell off. Yeah. Yeah. So didn't even get my full week workout done and haven't done it this week. It's just like the whole world just flipped upside down, which is silly because it's also not helpful. But yeah, I get to the place where I just want to shut down and I just want to shut down, but you can't. And that I think that's the mental
part.
battle I end up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, are you feeling, you seem like you have pretty good energy right now in terms of, are you feeling sick in this moment or?
Yeah, I could definitely feel it's just sore throat and fatigue. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my poor hair could use a good washing.
That's the least of your worries.
And that's honestly been it. I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
No, it makes no difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can't do hard Peloton rides when we're under the weather. We just really can't.
Yeah.
But you probably could do just like a 10-minute stretch.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, that might be good. Just a little bit of stretching, a 5-minute stretch, you know, something like that.
Yep.
That
I
would-
know. I just need to do it. I just
Yeah.
didn't. And that's the problem.
Mhm.
Is
Well, you hit the reset. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
actually, I could do this.
yeah,
You
that's
could even
true.
do it today. You could do it when you get back from your treatment. You could just lay on the floor and stretch very, very gently.
That's a good idea.
Not a core class, just a stretch class. I don't think a core class is good after those treatments. I'm sure they want you to lie to just rest and receive it, you know?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll
would
see.
think
I don't
so.
even know what to expect yet.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's received one yet.
Yeah. But yeah, and there's two. There's an antiviral medication that's what I got. I'm still waiting to find out if I can get the antibody treatment. That's the one that sounds a bit more invasive. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
for now, I'll take the drugs.
Yeah. Take the drugs. Drugs are good.
I can
Drugs
be.
are super useful when they are.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, they are. Exactly.
Yes, they really are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I know I'm a little all over the place today.
Oh.
I'm grateful for this space. Um,
Mm.
even if I don't necessarily follow along with the intended plan for the day, it's just nice to have a space.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Really
Thank you.
feels important. I look forward to having you again next week, and I hope your treatment, the medication or the treatment just goes, just kind of
Thank you.
knocks it straight out, you know.
Thank you. Yep.
You'll just be really renewed.
Yes. Thank you.
And you're welcome. And it's an opportunity for you to slow down and know you feel like you can't, but when you get sick, like COVID, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
do. So you'll
I
get
just
done
finally
what needs to
finished.
get done. Mhm.
I finally finished the book I'm supposed to be reading for therapy yesterday for that exact reason. Like, oh, I don't have an excuse but to read right now, so I will do it.
Good. Really good. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you feel better. And Paige, I don't know if you want to say anything. No?
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Beautiful day. Okay.